Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Fourth and Fun. I'm your host, Glen Ritter. Looking forward to having a great show. Got some great guys, great insiders here joining us. But before I get into that, I always want to make sure I just throw out there how you can find me and listen or find all of my uh, opinions on things, especially Minnesota sports related. I'm the Minnesota Insider in addition to hosting this Fourth and Fun show. So you can find me on X at IESR_Minnesota, or my personal handle is Gritter13. So either one of those, you can find me. Uh, and yeah, definitely check me out on those. You may notice that I've got a little bit of my Twins gear on tonight. I've got my actual Twins jersey on inside out in protest of the owners. For those of you who haven't been following, the Twins ownership, after trading off 40% of their active roster, made the announcement yesterday that they are going to keep owning the team. They're not going to sell it, even though that's what they've been talking about for over a year. I just actually bought a new shirt that I'll be wearing as soon as I can get it, probably in the next few weeks, for one of my shows. That says from the Dong Show, because in 2019 they were led by had the Bomba Squad, led the league in homers, and they called it the Dong Show. So the shirt now says from the Dong Show to the Gong Show. So it's it's just how I feel about the Twins, and this isn't the format for that, so I'll definitely do a short video later on about that. But let's get to the show, and let's meet some of the guys that are here joining us. So first of all, let's welcome to the stage Alden. Alden, tell everybody where you're from and how they can find you out there on social media.
Yeah, so for those who didn't watch, I believe the second episode, that's when I was last on here. Wasn't able to come on last week, but yeah, I live out here in Phoenix. Lived out here my whole life. Repping Arizona sports teams, the Cardinals, Suns, Diamondbacks, Mercury. I am an Arizona State Sun Devils fan, so we got college football around the corner. So I'll definitely do a lot of videos on my Sun Devils. And lately, I've been doing a lot of Cardinals videos too. They did just come off of a win last week against the Chiefs in their first preseason game. We saw a lot of the starters; they did pretty good for the most part, other than a stupid interception by Murray. But other than that, the starters look good. And they take on Denver this Saturday, so definitely we'll give some videos on that game as well. And the Diamondbacks as well. They've actually been playing pretty good lately. They just came off a series win against the Texas Rangers, and they're taking on the Rockies in a 4-game series starting today. So we'll see if they can keep it going. They're not that far out of the playoffs, despite being sellers so far. So definitely will be interesting. Everyone was saying the Diamondbacks are selling, they're out of it, but they're only 5 games out of the playoffs. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's always interesting when teams sell off a lot of players, and then the players that are still around go, well, hey, what about us? And they
yeah.
continue to play well. So so do the Cardinals have any joint practices this week in front of their preseason game?
Yeah, they do actually. They actually just had one today with the Broncos, who they're playing in a couple days, actually. So they had a joint
Right.
practice with the Broncos, and the secondary looked kind of weak. Bo Nix was torching the defense, so it's definitely good news for Broncos fans, I guess. The second-year quarterback, he's looking pretty good. What really stood out in that joint practice was Kyler Murray's connections with Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. Obviously, Trey McBride coming off a 1,000-yard season. We're going to be able to see how he can build off of that as well. And Marvin Harrison Jr., a guy who didn't have the best rookie season. I think people kind of put a little bit too much hype on him being drafted 4th overall. His father being a Hall of Famer. I think the fame and spotlight kind of got to him a little bit. So we'll see how he does in year 2. But so far, he has looked really good in joint practices and in the preseason game last week for the short time he did play. His route running is looking pretty good. Uh, him and Kyler Murray have been working together during the offseason a lot to build their connection. So we'll see how the offense looks. But yeah, the secondary, that's about the only bad from the joint practice that came out today. There's not really a whole lot of film on it because I guess the Broncos didn't really allow it. But from what insiders have said, other than the secondary getting cooked by Bo Nix, the team's looking pretty good so far.
Awesome. Okay. Well, yeah, since you mentioned the Cardinals taking on the Chiefs last weekend, let's bring in our Kansas City insider. Bobby, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and the teams you covered, and where they can find you on social media?
Sure, I appreciate that, Glenn. So I'm one of the Kansas City sports insiders. I was born and raised here in Kansas City. I've lived elsewhere here and there, but I'm back in Kansas City. I live in Kansas City. Big Royals and Chiefs fan. Growing up, grew up as a huge University of Missouri fan for football and basketball. Even though I didn't go there necessarily. Actually, I went to Missouri State, so that's another college I kind of represent and root for, as well as far as covering for IE Sports Radio. So we have actually two Kansas City sports insiders for IESR Kansas City, myself and Brandon. So Brandon actually covers more the Kansas athletics as far as the collegiate side. And then I, of course, follow and talk about University of Missouri and Missouri State in that regard. So as far as else you can follow me, outside of the IESR _Kansas City handle, I also have my personal handle on Twitter or X. It is KC Chiefs Fan 89. And it was kind of funny when Alden was kind of speaking. I was just thinking I have two teams that the Royals and Chiefs played last weekend, the Twins and the Cardinals. The Kansas City teams did not fare too well in those respective matchups. The Twins matchup last weekend, here in Kansas City, especially with the Twins, like you just mentioned, selling off like 40% of their team with the trade deadline, we thought for sure that would be a series victory. But the Royals ended up losing that series to the Twins last weekend up in Minneapolis, and that really took us by surprise here in Kansas City. And I mean, it's really making us doubt whether or not this team's truly a contender. Our schedule is definitely softening up with the current homestand the Royals are on. We've already taken 2 out of 3 from the Nationals during the week. We have the White Sox come in town this weekend, the Rangers after that. So we're hoping to take care of business against those teams, even though, the Rangers are just the next team above the Royals in the wild card standings. And then really the Chiefs, the Cardinals game, they look, the first unit always looks good. And then it's just our second and third unit that always just seems to give up the game. I mean, that's what at least appeared to me watching it. And, it's always tough to tell in that first preseason game. I always feel like the second and third game is really more the measuring stick as far as I think really how complete your team is or not. So, yeah, give what it is. I mean, the first preseason game, I think as long as your first unit is looking sharp, I think that's all you really matter. The other stuff can really be kind of hopefully, improved as the camp goes along and as you see a couple more games in the preseason.
Oh yeah, I understand that, and I agree completely. Preseason you have to obviously take with a grain of salt. Personally, when I look at what the Vikings did, and by the way, as far as the Royals go, we are just as surprised about the Twins performing as you are. So it's although the one thing that did jump out at me that kind of the stars aligned was Luke Keeschel coming back off the injured reserve. Mm-hmm. He was just smoking the ball the first week of the season, got hit with a pitch, broke his forearm, and just returned after the last week or so, and was absolutely just crushing the ball after he came back. So you gotta, and again, like I mentioned earlier with Alden's teams, right? The Diamondbacks. Sometimes those players that are still around afterward, then they, I don't know, whether they feel liberated or what, but sometimes they just start playing better too. So who knows why those things happen? But anyway, let's move on a little bit here. Let's get into some of the headlines. So I've got some questions here that hopefully you'll have heard about or read about. Oh, but before I do that, I gotta give a shout out to Taryn for tuning in. First of all, Taryn, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And he also says hi to Alden. So, Taryn, thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. And anybody that's watching, if you had any questions or any comments on any of the questions that I ask, if you know the answers, let me know and throw them into the comments there. So first question I've got for you. Kind of a controversial topic, but which team has the first openly transgender cheerleader? And if you know the answer, if you know the answer to the team, just shout out your name. Your name can be your buzzer, and you can give that to me. And it's a bonus question: is if you know that cheerleader's name.
Isn't it your Vikings?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Vikings.
No, the Vikings do have 2 male cheerleaders, but they are male. I don't think they're heterosexual, but
aren't they related to one of the players?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know for sure. I haven't dug too deeply into that. This one just came up because it was a like I said, a transgender cheerleader.
I was gonna say Panthers then, if not the Vikings.
All right, let me go to my sound effects here.
Oh.
And ding, ding, ding. Yes.
Because I remember some people made some comments about that. I think it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know the name though.
Okay. The name is Justine Lindsay. So, and it did say that she was coming back. So maybe she had been. This is the first I had heard of there being a transgender cheerleader out there. Just as a football fan, because I see a lot of people posting, and there's been articles here in Minnesota about some Minnesota Vikings fans are canceling their season tickets because they have the 2 male cheerleaders on the team and whatever. But they're not the only 2 teams with male cheerleaders. I think there's 12 from what I've seen. As football fans, what are your thoughts on that happening? Just guys on as cheerleaders, or transgender people being as on the cheer teams for NFL teams? Any opinion?
I guess the way I look at it is, if I go to a football game, I mean, I'm really more focused on the game itself. The cheerleaders are kind of more just, they're more being the side. And a lot of times, halftime show, you're in the restroom or getting food anyway. So to me, I hardly ever see them perform really. So to me, I don't think it'd be a huge deal. I mean, I think to me, it'd be, I wouldn't be noticed hardly, whether, regardless of the gender of the person. To me, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I think it's more of a big deal now because we're still kind of in the off season. It's something you're kind of talking about, because it's out there on social media or just internet in general. But for football fans, once you go to games or, games are going on, once the season starts, like it probably won't be brought up too much more beyond that.
Okay. I'm sorry. Give a little ding to that. Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's kind of my opinion too. I'm like, if I'm watching a game, I'm watching the game. I'm watching what's going on the field. Even if I'm there at the stadium and I don't go to very many games, again, that's me. But I can see how some people are really, going the far other direction with it.
I mean, I'd say, same thing for me. Like when I'm watching the Cardinals on TV, they're not even showing the cheerleaders at all. So they don't show it at all. So if I'm watching on TV, it's whatever. But, if I go to a game, depends on how far I'm sitting, even when they do show them, unless it's on the big TV, you don't really notice right away who they are. So, and I just go there to watch football. I care about my Cardinals winning. That's pretty much the only thing I care about, or losing, because I see that a lot too. But yeah. But I mean, as far as fans canceling season tickets, I mean, it just, it is what it is. The only, if it brings the revenue down or up, then that's when I see the NFL responding to it. But other than that, I don't think it's, it's just, I just care about the football game itself right now. That's how I view it.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I would think with
that's,
I was just gonna say, I would think with the Vikings, like even if fans are canceling tickets, I would think there's probably some sort of wait list for the Vikings. Maybe you got the fans say it.
well, that's what I'm thinking.
New fans, so
my son's in college and stuff. Maybe I tried to get on the waiting list. I had season tickets to the Vikings when they were in the Metrodome, probably almost 20 years ago. We had me and a buddy, we each had 2 tickets, and it would have been about 18 years ago, because I think we dropped them during the Brad Childress era, right before the Vikings drafted Adrian Peterson. So it's kind of a tough time to leave, but I've been to some games at US Bank Stadium, but there's the seat licensing and stuff like that too. I don't know how much all that costs, but anyway. All right, let's go on to some tennis questions. All right. So again, sorry, we've got some off the ball kind of questions here. Do you guys know what the total prize money will be for the 2025 US Open? Have you read anything or seen anything about how much money is being dished out?
So we're talking about the combined total for both the men's and women's champion?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yes.
Didn't it increase from last year?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw out like
I'll say
$12 million. I don't know. That's even.
I'm not a tennis guy, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if it's too high or too low.
What was your guess there, Alden?
100 million. I don't know.
Just shy of that. It's 90 million. So, which I think is a record. So kind of a follow-up question to that is, how much do the singles champions, how much will they earn at the US Open this year out of that 90 million? Anybody want to throw a guess out?
I'll say 5 million.
And that's, I was thinking more like when I had my answer or my initial guess, I was thinking around that as well.
Oh, I got that.
5 million. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was it. So
I was going to say 10, but that sounded too high. So
yeah. It's kind of crazy that, that's I mean, which is a good amount of money, but it's crazy when you think about other sports and how much professional athletes are paid for winning championships. So here's kind of an obscure question. So this is totally going to be under the radar, and I don't know that anybody will know this, but who became the first Italian man to win at Wimbledon this year? Again, you probably won't know the name if you don't watch a lot of tennis. I had to look this up, so
yeah, I don't.
It's okay if you don't.
If
you don't know. Okay, sorry. Some of these questions that I come up with and find are just way off base. But the individual's name is Yannick Sinner. Okay, let's go to a different question here. So, which American station has aired the U.S. Open since 1968? Do you know which station has always, since 1968, has aired the U.S. Open?
Is it CBS? That'd be my guess.
Ding, ding, ding.
Either that. Yeah, CBS.
Yep, that is correct.
I was going to say ABC.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things you get a 1 in 3 chance between CBS, ABC, and NBC, right? Because those are the only ones that have been around that long. Those were the ones I grew up on. So I'm quite a bit older than you guys. Anyway, let's see if I've got some other questions I have. Okay, this one's not tennis related. This one gets back to more conventional sports. Let's go through this and see what you guys remember here. So, which NFL running back holds the record for most rushing yards in a single season?
Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson. Very good. Thank you. Good job.
For the Rams.
2,105 yards. You guys know who's second on that list for a single season?
I do not.
I'm just gonna throw out O.J. Simpson.
Nope. O.J. Simpson held the record for a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Adrian Peterson ended up 8 yards short of that record, which was the year after he tore his ACL. Just kind of crazy. Hey.
That was his MVP year, right?
It was, yeah.
He was 8 yards shy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, it's been nothing but quarterbacks.
Yep. Well, exactly. Yep. Except for Saquon won it last year, right? The MVP?
No, Josh Allen.
Yeah. Josh Allen did. Okay, you're right. Right. Again, the season Saquon Barkley had, and he still wasn't really. I mean, he was in the conversation for MVP, but really didn't have a chance to win it. Just crazy. All right, let's switch sports again. Let's talk a little NBA. If you guys know this one, in what year did the NBA abolish the hand checking on the perimeter of the court? Have an idea?
Was it recently?
No, not really. It was after Michael Jordan retired, though, I think.
2000.
Say 2005.
Ooh, really close. 2004, actually.
Oh wow.
So I always when people talk about LeBron versus Michael Jordan, I always think back to what kind of rules were in place for Jordan and aren't in place right now. So that's a big one, right? Where they could really put their hands all over, defenders could put their hands all over them and stuff. So anyway, okay. Well, let's take a quick break here. Let's listen to some of our sponsors, and we'll be right back here on Fourth and Fun, here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
All right, welcome back to Fourth and Fun. Thanks to our sponsors, Planet Jerky, premium brisket beef jerky. I say this all the time. The stuff is absolutely fantastic. I always have 2 of the large bags around me at all times, one at home and one in my office. It's absolutely fantastic. And then Vital Apparel, obviously great workout gear, comfortable, and check them out. They've got great stuff that it's comfortable workout gear. Proceeds go to help mental health initiatives, and just fantastic. Please check them out, and take care of our sponsors. We really can do all of this without them. So, all right, welcome back, guys. So this one I want to have a little bit of a discussion on, and we touched on it a little bit last week, and I want to just kind of go back to it and say, okay, I want to hear what your guys' opinions are on this ESPN NFL deal. Kind of what does it mean for the future of the NFL? Because I think Clay Travis said this week that it's going to cost the average fan $700 to watch their favorite team play across all of the different streaming services that are out there that are showing games, whether that's Amazon Prime, Peacock, and that doesn't even include the Sunday ticket. That's another $500. Because it seems like they're going to all of these different streaming platforms to watch games. Again, ESPN. Do you think that they're ever going to get to a tipping point where some fans are going to say, you know what, I'm not going to dish out another $30 a month just to watch a single game on Peacock or whatever, when they've got the games on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Obviously there's so many different days when they're playing games that used to be off limits. But anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
You go ahead, Alvin. I'll let you take the lead.
Well, I think if I read it right, it said that the league and ESPN, they still have to negotiate a final agreement with the NFL owners to get their approval from it.
Right.
The owners of the teams. But when I look at the TV networks and the whole narratives of that, it brings me back to how much the NFL just because there is a saying, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. So when it comes to these TV networks, like deals like this, for instance, because they announced Tuesday night that they were going to make an agreement with ESPN, so they'll acquire NFL Network, NFL Fantasy, and the rights to the Red Zone channel, and I believe a 10% equity stake. So more money for the NFL, I guess. The more fans watch it, the more they're going to find ways to take money from the fans to keep the revenue going up, just so they can continue to, I guess, do what's best for the NFL. So as far as that goes, they still have to negotiate it, and the owners of the other teams still have to approve of it. But I mean, it's we've seen this a lot recently with other networks as well, and across other leagues as well too. It's just if I have read it correctly, that's the 10% equity stake going towards the NFL as well. So as long as the NFL is making money, they're going to keep doing stuff like this. They're going to find ways to say, oh, hey, you have to pay, the fans have to pay this amount a month to watch NFL games on Peacock, on Prime Video, and this and that, and fans aren't going to be able to watch it because they don't want to spend it. But that's how the NFL is going to be going forward. Just whatever they can do to get their revenue up and promote the NFL in any way they can, they're going to do it. So that's how I see this deal. But I'm going to have to do a little bit more reading onto it. But from what I've read so far, it's one of those things to get their revenue going.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, as far as the owners approving it, I mean, they'd be out of their mind not to, just because it means more money for them, for each of them. They're going to keep doing that, and that's the way the NFL works, and which I get. I know that as a Twins fan, it's been tough because I can't really watch. Well, I had been a Twins fan, obviously. I had some Twins gear before the last couple of years, but anyway, it's hard to watch the team. They're not on anything that's readily available here in Minnesota, which is disappointing. The NFL is different, right? They've got games on every channel. If you want to watch a game, there's watch your team. There's a way to do it. I know last week Josh was saying that he pays for the Sunday ticket because he's a Dolphins fan but lives in California, and that's what he does all the time. But sometimes I just think that there might be sometimes where some of the fans that maybe don't have as much money, don't have the the money and the means to have 7 different streaming services at their disposal. If there's some on Apple TV and stuff like that too, which I think that there's been talk of having some games on there too. I don't know. It just seems like they're spreading them out to so many different streaming services that it could negatively impact some fans. But anyway, how about you, Bobby? You got any other thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I first heard about the deal, I don't know, actually, I'm not an expert on the deal, as far as the details of it. But the first thing I thought was it was kind of an interesting move to see that the NFL was kind of allowing or willing to have ESPN kind of have that brand recognition as far as saying, hey, we have the Red Zone channel, especially because, when you think of, watching football on Sundays, it's completely different now. It's most people, I think, I don't want to say most people, but a lot of people, when they reference watching football games, they're referencing the Red Zone channel. Obviously because of, so many people are involved with, fantasy sports or just sports betting in general, people just going on, watching a 3-hour standalone football game is just unheard of unless it's, a primetime game. So, like kind of like what Alden was saying, obviously, clearly the NFL is making money to the point that they're willing to kind of have ESPN sort of take that branding away, especially with the Red Zone channel. And then kind of something you touched on, Glenn, as well is, and I was kind of curious to hear about, your respective markets that you both live in. As far as like football and kind of, with now it's baseball, as far as this has been a huge kind of discussion here in Kansas City about, whether or not you're able to ever see games on local TV. Here in Kansas City, they actually just recently kind of added about a dozen games to a local channel. So there are like at least 12 games that here in Kansas City, we can see the Royals on a local channel without having to subscribe to cable or some other streaming service. So Glenn, it sounds like up there in Minnesota, like there's no option to be able to do that as far as seeing any local games on TV that way. And Alden, I was just kind of curious about the Diamondbacks. Is there any way that, is there any option to see local games there? Because that's something I don't know if this is going to be a trend with other markets. I'd be surprised. Maybe it's just more of a small market thing here in Kansas City, but bigger markets like Minneapolis and Phoenix, like I'm sure that's probably maybe not an option there.
So there used to be a time where so the Diamondbacks have always been local. There's occasionally games you can't watch. I think last year there were a whole bunch of times where there were D-backs games on Roku of all channels, but there were games on Roku. I actually had to watch games on my laptop because I didn't have Roku on my TV. So I would watch Diamondback games like while I work on my laptop sometimes. But that was as far as the Diamondbacks go, a majority of the time it is local. The Phoenix Suns, there's local games now because when Matt Ishbia bought the team in 2022, beginning of 23, somewhere along those lines, he made games for the Suns and the Mercury free for the fans who live in Arizona. So I don't know the whole process of how the owner himself does that, but before he bought both the Suns and the Mercury, you had to pay a certain subscription for certain Suns games. So that's why, that's like during the finals year in 21, I was disappointed until the playoffs, obviously, because playoff games you can watch all the time, no matter what. But during the regular season, when they were really good, there were some games you just couldn't watch. And then for the Cardinals, it's always local. You don't have to pay a subscription for anything for the Cardinals. If you live in Arizona, you can watch the local channel. It's always going to be on there. So yeah, Glenn, I don't know how it works in Minnesota, but out here, at least for the three teams that I care about the most, and ASU, obviously they're free as well. So out here living locally, I can pretty much watch them whenever now. So
yeah. So for the Vikings, yes, every game is always going to be aired on a network television station. So even if they're the Monday night game on ESPN, it's also aired on like ABC locally. As far as the Twins and Timberwolves, I haven't been able to regularly watch their games in a number of years. We got a comment that came in here too. All right, Brian just threw in here too. I'll just throw his comment up. Good evening, guys. You may get Red Zone and WWE pay-per-view for that $30 a month package. Oh, okay. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate the feedback. But so I grew up watching the Twins on a local TV station. I don't remember exactly when they switched to. It was Fox Sports North first. So, which is a channel that you could get on as part of a cable package, or I have YouTube TV now as a streaming service as opposed to a cable, like Comcast or something. But which is also where the Twins were on for quite a while. Then a couple of years ago, there was the bankruptcy, right, with Diamond Sports, which I think is what Arizona had. They were part of that as well. There's
Sports.
The Diamond Sports was who owned Bally Sports, right?
Yeah.
So Fox Sports North became Bally Sports North, which it was under the umbrella of Diamond Sports. And so, yeah, Minnesota and Arizona, and there was a few other markets that they were in a bankruptcy, and so then the teams didn't get any TV revenue. So, like last year, I know that was a big thing for the Twins. Now they've got it working with MLB TV or something like that. But and that's again more on those sports that aren't the NFL, right? The NFL, for the most part, if your favorite team is in your home market, if you live in the home market of your favorite team, you're not going to have trouble watching them. It's if your favorite team is my wife's grandfather lived in Superior, Wisconsin. He was a huge Packers fan, but the TV station there was based in Duluth, which is in Minnesota, and they were showing Vikings games. They would always show the Vikings game as opposed to Packers games if they were playing at the same time. Absolutely hated it. He would have had to have gotten the Sunday ticket before he passed away if he wanted to watch the Packers play. Anyway, it's some of those fans that I think are the ones that kind of miss out on those things where they have to go through these additional hoops to be able to watch their favorite teams. Some people, like Josh mentioned last week, he's like $500 every year. I know I'm going to spend it. I'm going to watch every single Dolphins game. Okay, that's good for you. But yeah, just as a thought, I don't know that everybody out there would want to do that or has the means to do that. So anyway, great discussion on that, guys. Appreciate that. Let's let's switch over to something that I've brought up and kind of talked about every single week here. Where's that other one? And that's just if you could script one under the radar sports headline for the next week, what would it be? Oh, I suppose I could take the
like a prediction.
Yeah, just any kind of prediction or just something that you could see happening. It could be NFL related, baseball related, anything, WNBA, anything out there that could happen. I know that Josh was he was like to make predictions about the Phoenix Suns because he's also a Suns fan. But as you guys know, when you were on the show together at that time.
Yeah, and surprisingly, that prediction did not come true. I thought it would.
Yeah,
yeah. But see, for next week, I'll go to the NFL and I'll say Micah Parsons gets traded.
Ooh.
I'll make a bold prediction on that because there were some photos of him in the Cowboys. And I'm not sure if it was outside their training facility or what, or a joint practice of some kind or whatever. He did not look happy to be there at all. So that's my bold prediction is that Micah Parsons will get traded. Hopefully not to an NFC West rivalry because they were making jokes about. I think Aaron Donald made a joke on X saying he'd come out of retirement if Micah Parsons went to the Rams. So I that hopefully, but and we all know Jerry Jones. He's just that kind of owner that does not care. So and he already requested the trade not too long ago, and it just sounds like it's getting worse. And you even have his teammates on the Cowboys telling Jerry to pay the man, and he's not doing it. So. I think in this next week, if something bold could happen, it could be an escalation on the Micah Parsons trade request.
Wow, that would be something. And yeah, the whole Jerry Jones situation in Dallas has always left me puzzled because it seems like every year they have a person that needs to get a new contract. And then they wait and wait and wait, like with, CD Lamb, it waited until after Justin Jefferson got his contract. And now they had to pay him, increase the price tag for CD Lamb. No matter what they do, he always seems to be, a year late on paying people, so I don't know. Because I don't know what, he'll have to like beat was TJ Watts. Is he the highest paid defensive end? Or
I think the Steelers did just pay him.
Yeah. So again, every single time somebody signs a new contract that is the highest paid, highest non-quarterback contract, then they got to keep. That's a number to beat.
It just blows my mind that Jerry can't. I mean, the Cowboys are the richest team, I think, in any sports league, if I'm not mistaken. And Jerry just doesn't know how to run it. That's what blows my mind the most. But it's,
yeah. He reminds me a lot of Al Davis in that respect, where he's set on what he wants to do. And doesn't really necessarily listen. It doesn't seem like he listens to anybody else. But anyway, how about you, Bobby? You got anything that you think might be a little crazy that might happen this week?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the other kind of NFL team that this time of year that always gets a lot of attention outside of the Cowboys is also the Cleveland Browns. And I did hear a little bit about. Did I hear that Shedeur Sanders has an oblique injury? I don't know how severe it is, but I mean, I always think of like oblique injuries with baseball players in particular. That's usually a pretty long timetable to kind of have to heal and make sure that gets fine. I mean, for a quarterback with all the twisting, you're torquing your body's doing, like here he has such a great week one, preseason game. And, it would just be the Cleveland Browns to have, a top prospect quarterback who, is getting all his attention because, of course, his dad is Deion Sanders. And, of course, he's dealing with an injury that, what if we find out that it's something that's going to take weeks, if not months to heal? That would be such a Cleveland Browns thing to happen to them. I don't think they're going to be competitive this year with the AFC North. It's probably going to be the Ravens division. But second place to me is kind of somewhat up for grabs. I think Cleveland could, I think if, Sanders can remain healthy, I think they could be a sneaky team to finish second, potentially. Just because I don't think there's really the depth there. I don't think the Steelers are the Steelers like they used to be with Tomlin, and they have never really been able to fix the quarterback position ever since Roethlisberger retired. And I'm drawing blank another team in the North.
Oh, the Bengals.
The Bengals, yeah, the Bengals have just, I thought they had their moment once they got to the Super Bowl, but once they got to that Super Bowl, I mean, they did make the AFC Championship the following year, but it really seems like it's really whether or not Burrow can stay healthy and being able to pay all their star players. You just never know about Cincinnati. So, I mean, I think Cleveland does have a moment really that they could kind of shine and I don't necessarily shine's the right word, but I think they could surprise some people if Sanders can remain healthy. And I think, honestly, I don't think, it'd be kind of curious to see if this oblique injury, what sort of setback it has on the Browns. Because, kind of outside of traditional powerhouses, especially in the AFC, outside of the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, we're kind of needing another quarterback, another team to really kind of step up. And, we'll see what, Sanders can do if he can stay healthy, but it'd be kind of curious what the oblique injury does to him. Because I think they can be kind of an under-radar team, I feel like, in the AFC.
Oh, that's a great point. I guess in my thoughts, as far as the Steelers go, Mike Tomlin's always going to have them at 500 or above, right? So they'll be 9-8 for sure. Because that's what he does. He's I still long for the days. Well, not anymore. But he used to be the defensive coordinator for the Vikings for 1 year, and at that time, I'm like, okay, let's get rid of Brad Childress. Let's make Mike Tomlin the head coach, and I think we would have done better over the years since that time. Anyway, but I digress. I think the Steelers do have with Rodgers, who is not who he used to be, but he's better than what they had last year, I think. He just always finds a way to get the most out of his players. The Bengals, they have spent so much money on their offense and have completely ignored the defense. And now they got their best defensive player, Trey Hendrickson, is still holding in. And they don't necessarily always, just the way that they construct the roster, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I can understand how you could think that Cleveland could easily pass them. I mean, obviously Cincinnati has with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow have the talent to be great offensively. I think Chase Brown's a really solid running back as well. But there's more than to winning games than just having those skill positions. You need to have a good defense. You need to be strong in the trenches, offensively and defensively. So I could see that Cleveland could do something like it could sneak up on people. Again, if they could get the quarterback situation figured out. But yeah, it's just such a jumbled mess there. I don't know. So, all right. Well, let's take one last quick break. I'm going to start totaling up my scores, what I'm thinking here. We'll announce the winner after we come back from a quick break. Again, you're watching 4th and 4 here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at iSports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back to Fourth and Fun. Again, host Glen Ritter. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let's bring Alden and Bobby back out here real quick. I got one last question for you before we go to the final score or decide on a winner. How about this? Predict one bold headline that will happen by next week's show. So even beyond the what we talked about the last segment, what is something or kind of a drop the mic moment, like something bold that you think is going to happen? Although the trading of Micah Parsons was pretty bold, but is there anything else I want you guys to throw out there?
The only other thing I was kind of thinking of, and this is more baseball related, the Yankees, I know they got Aaron Judge back, but they did kind of take a dip in the wild card standings. Grant, they're still in the playoffs at the season we're in today, but there's been a lot of grumbling about, just the Yankees in general, the future of them, whether or not Aaron Boone's going to be the manager. A lot of people are, it sounds to me like they're not happy with not being the division lead. The Blue Jays have taken over that division, being in first. I'd be kind of surprised to see if, how much of a toll that has on the Yankees clubhouse. I would love to see them personally just follow the playoff hunt completely and be outside the wild card. But yeah, I think it's something that, this time of year, like baseball is such a long season. And then once August hits, it's all about football. But I think not enough people are really talking about the Yankees and whether or not, how healthy their clubhouse is. And if we come back to sometime next week that, there's some internal rumblings and, the team's just not playing good, like it's going to be interesting that, it's being a wild card team is not, going to settle too well in New York. They have to win the division. That's the expectation, winning a World Series. So just being a wild card team, and I know there's another, month of the season left plus, but this turnaround that the Blue Jays have had winning or taking that division, and obviously Judge was hurt, but and I think even Boston's in front of them in the standings at the moment. So I think really the Yankees are in third place. It's how much of the media is going to, or the people following the Yankees internally, are they going to tolerate being third place in that division? That's kind of my, I think, a bold take or a bold headline. I don't think people talk about enough just because of the time of year. I think, people don't really start talking about the baseball and playoffs until September. I think August is kind of this forgotten month because, like I said earlier, that this football starts taking so much steam away from baseball. But and maybe in some ways that's helpful for the Yankees in that regard, as far as the pressure being taken off at least this month. But yeah, I think it's something that's kind of interesting to see how that unfolds as we are already halfway into the month of August, and see how that goes in the latter half of the month into September.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing for the Yankees is that they don't play the Twins again this season. So that's always their slump buster every year is the Twins. That's I think in the last 30 some games against the Yankees, the Twins have won maybe 7, I think is what one of the stats I've read. So great point. And also I do think that the Giants and Jets are doing a good job of keeping the attention off of the Yankees, because everybody's talking about Jackson Dart and how well he played in the preseason, and Justin Fields for the Jets. So I think that they're going to be looking in that direction. Alden, do you have another bold take or anything like that you want to throw out there?
So I'll keep it on baseball a little bit.
Okay.
I've just talked about the Yankees. Yeah, and that is interesting. It feels like ever since Judge dropped the ball in Game 5, they have not known how to figure anything out lately. But as far as where I'm going to go to my division, the NL West. But in case you guys haven't looked at it yet, the Dodgers are no longer in first place in the NL West, and the Padres have taken first place now, and it's actually kind of crazy. The Dodgers have won the division for the past decade now, but they did recently come off getting swept by the Angels, and they went 0 for 6 against the Angels this season, which we have not seen that since 2010. So the Angels got the sweep on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have been looking kind of slumpy a little bit lately. Obviously, Ohtani has been looking like Ohtani so far. That's been their bright spot once again this season. But I said when the Dodgers got Ohtani that they're not going to have that long of a window, because while they're going to have Ohtani for 10 years, keep in mind right now he is 31 years old. So when does he run out of gas left in the tank? Same thing with Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. Kershaw's at the tail end of his career. You got Yamamoto, who's having a really good season so far. Roki Sasaki, everyone hyped him up as a pitcher. He's having a bend but not break rookie season so far. They have him for a long time as well. But other than those three, I mean, where's the team really at right now? They did call up Dalton Rushing, who is looking like a decent catcher so far. But when I look at the Dodgers, obviously they're going to make the playoffs this season, whether it's a wild card or whether it's a division win. We all know it regarding this season. But when I look at the future of the Dodgers, all I see is really nothing but aging. So, but my prediction so far is that they will not win the division this season. I think the Padres, after the trade deadline that they had, I think that they are the better regular season team. I say regular season team because normally the Padres are the team that collapses in the playoffs. So, but we do see a Dodgers and Padres series starting tomorrow. So and for the next couple weeks, they play each other a couple times as well. And the Dodgers do take on the Rockies and Diamondbacks in the future this month as well. So a lot of division activity for the Dodgers coming up pretty soon, but getting swept by the Angels twice this season, I think that definitely sends a message to a certain degree that the division title for the Dodgers is kind of starting to pull away a little bit. And we look at the other teams in the division as well. The Giants, they're kind of that 500 team again. The Diamondbacks, when we thought they would hit the sell button this season, they're starting to win a lot more now. So could the Diamondbacks catch up to the Dodgers too if the Dodgers continue to fall like this? We'll see what happens. But overall, Dodgers getting swept by the Angels. And I said from the beginning, they're going to eventually, their window is going to get closed eventually. It's just a matter of when. And I think this, not just this series, but this season so far, the Dodgers have not been the Dodgers that we saw in 2024.
Yeah, I agree there. Yeah, I was just looking at the standings while you were going through that. The Dodgers have lost 4 straight. The Padres have won 5 straight. Dodgers are now a game back of the Padres. Diamondbacks are 7-3 in their last 10 as opposed to 4-6 for the Dodgers. So it's a good point. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. Again, I really appreciate you tuning in and joining the show. I do have to give a winner, and we're going to give that to Alden. Sorry, Bobby, but Alden just had a couple more questions right and had some good hot takes. I love the idea of trading of Micah Parsons getting traded. That just put him over the edge. But anyway, again, thanks for tuning in, guys. So quickly again, Alden, how can everybody out there find you again?
Yeah, so mainly I'm just on the X account for IE Sports Radio, IESR _ Arizona. So that's pretty much where I am as of lately. Currently I'm still doing videos on the Cardinals and Diamondbacks. I actually have to do one about this upcoming series against the Rockies, which actually started about a half an hour ago. So I'll give an update on that series. The Diamondbacks, it's only the first inning, and the Diamondbacks are already up 3-0. So a good start for the Diamondbacks in the first inning against
Nice.
the Rockies. So definitely an update on that series as well. The Cardinals, you'll see me do a lot more preseason videos. They take on the Broncos on Saturday. We'll see how that goes. There won't be any starters though, so it'll just be depth. And then they take on the Raiders the following week, and then they'll be back for Week 1 against New Orleans. So basically, I just weekly Cardinal videos. That's where you'll find me on X as well, and Diamondbacks. And then when the time comes for the Suns as well, and Arizona State, because college is also close, I'll see if I can do some Arizona Wildcat videos in there if I can. But definitely you'll see me for Arizona State. But yeah, as far as where you can find me, that's where you'll find me on X, on the IESR Arizona account. That's where I'm most active as of lately.
Awesome. Thanks. How about you, Bobby? How everybody find you?
Yeah, so myself and Brandon were the kind of co-anchors of the IESR _ Kansas City Twitter account. Also have my personal account. It's KC Chiefs Fan 89. So I do a lot of posting about Royals, Chiefs, as well as on the college side, University of Missouri, and also Missouri State as well. Those are kind of the 4 teams I primarily tweet about the most. So, but yeah, those are the 2 accounts you can find me at.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. I'll throw my X accounts up there again as well, just so everybody can see those. You can find me at IESR _ Minnesota or Grid15 on X. I do not have a TikTok account yet, although I think I might need to get that going. But guys, again, I appreciate you tuning in, joining me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, you'll be able to join in the future. And for everybody out there, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, here on Fourth and Fun on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.